which would be the Dakota Cougars. Finishing with an overall record of 7-4 last year, they're looking for a bounce-back season. Coach Greg Bauer, in his second season, is looking for them to improve from last year so they can compete in a challenging MAC Red.
Really excited about it. This group of kids is a bunch of hard-working kids, hard-nosed kids, mentally tough kids, which we really like. A little different than last year, some younger in some spots, but the youth that we have is very, very talented, so we're pretty excited about it.
Right there.
Our skill positions, our receiving group, our quarterback, and we have 3 really good running backs. Really excited about those guys. Mark Toko, he's a junior. He was on our JV last year, who went undefeated. A really good, heady player. You know, coach's kid, dual threat kid, a little bit different than what we had last year. Brett had a big, strong arm. Mark can throw it, but he can also run it, so it adds a new dynamic to our offense. And outside, we have 2 receivers that are faster than anybody we've ever had. Jaron Kelly is the county champion in the 100 meters. He ran a 10.800. And Ronye Walker is every bit as fast as him. So our outside guys are as fast as we've ever had. We got some good inside receivers, 3 very good running backs, and our offensive line's coming along. So I like that. And then defensively, you know, it's a work in progress right now, but I think we're going to be every bit as good as we were last year.
I think we should be pretty good. I think we're pretty strong on offense and defense. I think our linebackers are going to do pretty good, and our defensive end, Dakota, is going to do good.
We're really young, so we had to bond and all that, but our offense really coming together, defense is getting there, and yeah, we should be good this year. You just gotta practice how you play. You know, you gotta come out with enthusiasm, and you really gotta practice hard, and then it'll show in the game.
Drive it. Good.
We've opened up against a state champion 4 years in a row, so it's kind of like what we do, I guess. And then we got Ike week 2, and you know, they're very good, but you know, we know we can stay in there with Eisenhower. And then our league is probably, in my opinion, the toughest league in the state of Michigan, you know, arguably. But top to bottom, it's week to week. It's, you know, we can't look past anybody, and then St. Mary's obviously is first. So, but we'll be ready. You know, it's one of those things that gets everybody excited. You'd rather do that than come out and play a team that you know that is not quite as good. But we'll be ready.
It seems scary, but once you watch film and you know you realize that there's a bunch of high schoolers, you really focus in. And really, I think that you can take on any team as long as you're just doing what you want, and throughout the week you stay focused on your goal.
It's much more of a team mentality. There's no individuals here. One team, all in is our motto, and we mean that. You're either all in or you're not. And one team, we're all on the same team. We're all pulling for the same goal, and they've really been doing a good job with that. That's why I like this team. There's no, you know, quote-unquote star type of kids. This is just a hard-working group of kids, and I think maybe a lot better than people might think. I don't think there's any reason why this team can't challenge for the MAC Red Championship. Prior to last year, we won it 4 years in a row, and with some teams that were less talented than this team. I really like this group, and you know, the pundits are, you know, not predicting much out of us, which is great for us. We haven't been an underdog in a long time, and we kind of have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder, and that's very motivating. And I think we're going to surprise a lot of people.
Well, that's going to be something new for Dakota. Brad is kind of playing the underdog role, as he mentioned there. You know, 4 straight MAC Red championships, and now they come into this season maybe being 3rd or maybe even 4th in that division as far as the predictions go from a lot of people. So it's something they're not used to.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to give them that underdog label, though, with a team that's made the playoffs 16 straight years. But I guess the case could kind of be made for Dakota. They're breaking in a new quarterback in junior Mark Toko this season. So some question marks, but Coach Bauer seems to be pretty excited about the upcoming season.
I mean, anytime your JV team goes perfect the year before, you got to know that a lot of those kids are going to come up to the varsity level, but where does it translate? Once you get to that higher level, you know, can these young players kind of adapt to the varsity level and compete with some of the big teams in the red?
Well, it always comes down to X's and O's and matchups, and obviously to win in the MAC Red, you just have to grind out football games, and that's kind of the style of play we've seen recently out of Dakota. They obviously have depth and usually big offensive linemen. They like to run the football, but you have some playmakers out on the outside in terms of their wide receiver play. Jaron Kelly, a track superstar at Dakota. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of offense they bring to the table this year and what should be a really good Dakota team.
Okay, well, let's quickly take a look at their schedule now. They start on the 24th of August against Orchard Lake St. Mary's. You heard Coach Bauer talk about they just start every year with the four straight years with a defending state champion. And then they go on the road at Ike on the 1st. September 8th, they are at home against L'Anse Creuse, followed by another home game against Warren Mott. September 22nd, on the road at Stevenson, followed by 2 more home games on September 29th against Utica Ford, and then October 6th against Chippewa Valley. October 13th at Romeo, and then October 20th, they finish up on the road against L'Anse Creuse North. And Brad, when I look at the schedule, you know, a couple things stand out immediately is the beginning and the end. I mean, you talk about being thrown into the fire right away. Defending Division III state champion Orchard Lake St. Mary's on August 24th, and then they follow that up with a road game at Eisenhower. Both of those games are going to be really tough to start out the year.
Yeah, Dakota's not afraid to schedule those tough teams, and they get one right off the bat in week 1 against Orchard Lake St. Mary's. You mentioned the Division III state title. But Dakota beat them last season, 35-28, one of the few losses on Orchard Lake St. Mary's record last season, and then they get right into their MAC Red schedule with a road game against Eisenhower. Dakota, though, however, is pretty good in their early season games, 7-3 in their last 10 season openers, 8-2 in their last 10 MAC Red openers. So this is a team that gets thrown into the mix, but seemingly wins those games.
Mm-hmm. And you look at the end of the year, I often look at the end of a schedule because you want to get to that 6-win total. You know, you got at Romeo on the 13th. Dakota historically has not been very good going to Romeo, and then they are on the road at L'Anse Creuse North at the end of the year. That could be a game that means something for Dakota. If they're sitting there with 5 wins, they might need that one to get to 6.
I know we'll talk about L'Anse Creuse North shortly, but that could be a game, too, that they need as well. So a little bit of a tough matchup there the last week of the season, and one we should really be looking forward to.
Now, you pointed out to me before we started the program that there was one game on their schedule that you kind of looked at a little closer, and that was the Warren Mott game on September 15th.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot going on that night. They're going to honor the 2007 state title team at Dakota, but Mott has won 2 straight games against Dakota, and they actually have a winning record against Dakota. It's one of the few teams, it's the only team in the MAC Red that has a winning record against Dakota, and Warren Mott's 4-2 all-time against Dakota. So the Marauders, for some reason, have the Cougars' number.
And there must have been a reason they scheduled the reunion for that state championship against them. Try to get that energy level up a little bit. But it's hard to believe. It's been 10 years since Dakota won those back-to-back state championships. But looking for big things out of Dakota. We got a couple more teams, Brad, we're going to cover, but at first we're going to take a quick break. So when we come back, we'll highlight Chippewa Valley and L'Anse Creuse North.